What's happening, party people? It's Wednesday, which means it is time once again for the San Diego Brewers Guild Happy Hour at Home Instagram live stream, where I, Beth Demon, can check in with the state of SD beer and beyond. So thank you so much for joining us. We do this every week starting at 4 p.m., not 3 p.m. as it used to. And happy Beer Week, everybody. We're coming to the end of it, so I hope everybody has enjoyed the events they've been able to participate in thus far. There's definitely a couple more coming up through the rest of the week. So if there's anything that you guys have been drinking or you were able to attend or anything like that you loved, please do let us know in the comments here. I love to see what people have been kind of vibing on over the week. But also, happy Veterans Day. Thank you so much to all of the people inside and outside of San Diego Beer who have also helped keep our country safe and been able to participate in that. We thank you so much. So hopefully everybody is having a nice Veterans Day as well. But we are actually going to be expanding the borders of San Diego beer for our chat a little bit, not only outside of San Diego, but outside of beer. We are going to kick things off with the executive director of the American Cider Association, which I'm really excited about. We're going to see what's going on in Portland, Oregon, and the state of cider, how it relates to beer, all sorts of great stuff. Then we're going to bring it right back home with California Wild Ales. They've got a Beer Week release and a couple events that they are going to be talking about, so we're going to be checking in with them. Then another not beer guest, we're going to be checking in with Setting Sun Sake. So keeping it in San Diego, but alternative beverages and seeing what's up with them. Obviously they're in the Miralani Makers District, so they're very connected with the San Diego craft beer scene. So we're going to see what's going on in the sake world. Then we are going to go to Thorn Brewing. I always want to say Thorn Street, but that's like 6 years ago. That's over. It's Thorn Brewing to talk about Beer Week stuff, as well as their new neighbors in Barrio Logan. We're going to see what's going on in Barrio. And then we do have a bonus guest today. We're going to wrap things up with Karl Strauss for them to talk about their Friendsgiving initiative. So that should be pretty fun and awesome. So stay tuned for them to close us out. But without any further ado, what are we all drinking? If you've already cracked something, please let us know in the comments. But I am going to be having this wonderful collab with Alesmith and Weathered Souls out of San Antonio. Weathered Souls Brewing is the brewery that spearheaded the Black is Beautiful collaborative initiative and social justice movement earlier this year after the murder of George Floyd. So, as always, Black Lives Matter. Drink local independent craft beer, and we love collaboration. This is not a stout, but it is 7.7 ABV. West Coast style IPA brewed with Citra and Nelson hops. Diego Antonio, which took me a second to realize it's San Antonio, but it's because I'm not operating on all cylinders. So this is actually one of the few beers that I bring on the show that I haven't had before. So I'm going to put it in my koozie, and it's part of the Alesmith 25th anniversary series. So obviously, happy birthday and happy anniversary to the folks at Alesmith. But let's check it out. Oh yeah, I mean, super, super West Coast, just kind of that, if you like hazies, but you kind of want that crispy dankness of a West Coast, this is super good. There's that nice, tropical melding with the, real aromatic hop bitterness. That's really good. That's super nice and crisp. My husband picked this up at Valley Farm Market, which we've had them on before, and they have an unbelievably good beer selection in the grocery store. It's in Spring Valley. There's also a location in La Jolla. But I was like, bring me a West Coast IPA. I want something. And they didn't have any Virgin hazies. So he picked this up for me, and this is pretty darn solid. So really recommend it. But let's get to some news before we bring on our first guest. And I see that a couple of the guests have already joined us. Please be sure that you are watching on your phone, not on a desktop computer. Otherwise, I won't be able to add you. And because we do have an extra guest today, I'm going to really try to keep it on schedule. So if you have any trouble or any questions, please just comment in there below, and I will be sure to get to that. What made me get into brewing? I'm not a brewer. If you are not familiar with me, you can find me at The Delighted Bite on Instagram. I am a food and drink journalist. I'm a beer writer. I am also a failed home brewer. I'm a terrible home brewer, so I leave that to the pros. But yeah, I would love, if you are unfamiliar with me or my work, bethdemon.com is where you can find me. But since this is on behalf of the San Diego Brewers Guild, we like to make sure that we're keeping the information very guild specific, and that website is sdbeer.com. And on there, you will be able to find all of the events and releases that are still happening over the rest of Beer Week, because it is still Beer Week until Sunday. So you still got a couple days to enjoy some great stuff. But thank you for your question. That's great. I love that this is the first time joining us. We do this every single week, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So if you do find yourself on sdbeer.com, there's a ton of resources for brewery employees, brewery owners, beer drinkers. We try to take into consideration all of the different COVID restrictions that are happening. Obviously, San Diego just moved from the red to the more restrictive purple tier this week. So in the next couple of days, some things are going to be changing. Some things are going to be shifting. So please be sure to stay on sdbeer.com for news on how it relates to the beer community specifically. But some of the events that I'm really looking forward to that will wrap up Beer Week and just kind of moving into December, which is insane. Hot Mess and Rebrew are opening next to Thorn in Barrio. And also in Barrio, the Mujeres Brew House will be officially this weekend, I believe. I'm taking a look. I think it's Friday the 13th is their open day. So I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, obviously Barrio Logan has just been like percolating with creative stuff, beer stuff, hospitality stuff, and it is just getting ready to explode in such a cool, awesome, inclusive way. So I'm going to definitely stay tuned, and I recommend that everybody else stay tuned with what's going on, especially at the Mujeres Brew House. But one other thing, Small Brewery Saturday, that is a BA initiative that is going to return for the second year on November 29th. So stay tuned for a couple of things that are going to be happening with that. And just a way, encouraging beer lovers to celebrate after Thanksgiving, going to local breweries, tap rooms, things like that. Obviously, COVID's kind of messing up that a little bit, but hopefully we'll be able to keep sticking together and supporting independent local craft beer. But one last piece of info before I bring on our first guest, Michelle from the ACA, the American Cider Association. We will be doing our regular show this time next week, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Then we are going to take the week of Thanksgiving off. It's mostly because I'm going to be in the Grand Canyon for the very first time. I've got my whole first pandemic road trip thing planned, and I mean, things kind of aren't looking that great right now, just COVID-wise, but I've got my fingers crossed, and I'm pretty sure that the Wi-Fi in the South Rim is, not there. So while I personally will be hopefully drinking some wonderful local independent beer from Arizona on my road trip, fingers crossed, we will be taking the week of Thanksgiving off and then resuming on December the 2nd. So be sure to join us next week. Quick break for Thanksgiving, and then we'll all be able to talk about what we're thankful for. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on our first guest. Please do remember, comments and questions are absolutely welcome. If you have a question for me, a question for one of our guests, just want to share something, please do feel free to do that. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Michelle from the ACA. Well, hi there.
Hi, Beth. It's good to see
Good
you.
to see you too. Why don't you do hold on. Before we even introduce yourself, I love that you know You know what's up.
There is cider in there though.
That's okay. That's okay. It's like quintessential San Diego beer. So I love that you're diving in head first. That's great. So
Yeah, it's fond memories. I did not drink craft beer before I started eating pizza at this place. So
one of my favorites. I have had many days there, which I feel like I'm like, oh, that's like a kid place. Like they've got arcade games and pizza. Oh, I'm turning 29. I just want
I
to.
love it.
So, real quick, why don't you do a quick intro of who you are and what the ACA is?
Absolutely. Hi everyone. My name is Michelle McGrath, and I am the executive director of the American Cider Association. And we're a trade group. We're a 501c6 membership organization for all the cideries in the U.S. We're Big Tint. If you make cider, you can join us. And there are about 1,000 cideries in the U.S. and it's up and coming in San Diego. I think there's maybe even 10 cideries in San Diego County now.
Well,
Yeah.
that would be ambitious, but I would say that would be the maximum. But we certainly have a handful of them.
Yeah, well, counting the whole county though, so there's some great cideries up in the mountains and in North County too. But yeah, so we put on a conference every year called CiderCon. We lobby for the cider industry on behalf of the cider industry, and we argue with the TTB, lovingly argue with the TTB about cider labels. So that's kind of our jam. I'm a UCSD alum. That's why I have fond memories of Pizza Fort. And I know Beth from when you attended CiderCon. So
I was looking at my pictures because it was in January of this year in Oakland, and it was my first CiderCon. It was great. And I was just looking through my pictures of this year, trying to my family Christmas card photos of 2020, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that was this calendar year. I was like,
can you believe it?
I genuinely can't believe it. Cider was the last time I was on a plane, the last time in a group. It was
skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that point, there was really no, I mean, there was kind of whispers of it happening, but it had not, the pandemic had not reached the United States. And so that is just wild. But so you are in Portland.
I'm in Portland, Oregon. Yes.
So that is, the Pacific Northwest. In beer, that's obviously, a huge mecca. I mean, I still think San Diego's better, but I'm sure people want to.
Portland people want to argue here today, Beth.
Right, but I mean, you've got plenty of places up there. What's the beer scene and the cider scene like up there right now? Like, how are things going for you guys?
They're going okay. I mean, all the breweries already kind of had outdoor spaces because it's just like what you do at a brewery. So a lot of them have been able to keep those open. Even in Portland, they have outdoor spaces. And the cideries all pivoted very quickly to delivery, which was super helpful for them. So they're doing okay. They're doing an additional lockdown starting on additional restrictions starting on Wednesday. But it doesn't sound like it will impact the cideries and breweries too badly. So that's the good news.
So I know that there's definitely talk of restaurants being treated differently than breweries treated differently than things like that. Is there any big major difference that sets breweries apart from cideries right now? Or is it really just kind of all under the same umbrella of COVID's not great right now?
Yeah, because I work at a national level, I'm not super familiar with some of the state level policies.
Half the time it's impossible to keep up with.
Well, and it's different in every state because in some states cider is beer and in some states cider is wine, and in some states like Oregon cider is actually cider. So yeah, but so I'm not really familiar, but I know I've been hitting up Gigantic and some of the other breweries migration with outdoor patios pretty regularly with my husband. He's a craft beer fan, so they seem to be doing okay. Well,
fingers crossed. That we don't really have to worry about as much as the outdoor stuff here in San Diego, even though I think it was like a high of 68 or something today. And I mean, people are in parkas. They've got babies about it. So
I remember that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Anything below 72 and above 79, like we're just not interested. So
that's hysterical. Meanwhile, my kids are running around barefoot in 50 degrees and it's like no big deal. So
I hear you. So, well, what cider are you today?
I'm drinking a ginger cider. It's one I've never had before. It tastes like if you were to take the ginger that you get from a sushi restaurant and wrap it around an apple and take a bite. So it's pretty intense, but I'm enjoying it. It's got a zing.
Who's that from, or who's that by?
Yeah, it's actually from Georgia. It's from a cidery in Georgia. And they like to experiment with some unusual flavors. They have a cider that's shiso, actually. That's pretty fun. So ginger cider is fun to pair with sushi for that very reason, because you're used to kind of combining those flavors of ginger and seafood. So it's fun.
Definitely. Well, obviously, I'm a big fan of what's going on in Georgia right now.
Yeah.
I love to hear that Georgia's got some good stuff coming out of it. But I mean, one of the things that I was hoping to just touch on with you real quick is, obviously 2020 has been just a crazy, we'll say clusterfuck of a year for multiple reasons. But a lot of the social justice work that is happening on an industry organization, I feel like the ACA has been very quick to address it, very quick to embrace it in the literature you guys are putting out. You have a whole newsletter. Could you talk a little bit about what kind of got those efforts going, and what it means like to the cider community at large?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I think the stat I've seen for the craft beer industry is that less than 1% or 1% of the breweries are Black owned. Wow. And I think I did the math, and we're less than 1% of Black owned cideries in the US. I think there are 9 is what I've counted. So yeah, not a lot. But a couple years ago, one of our board members, David Thornton from James Creek Cider House in North Carolina, and one of our members and volunteers, Caitlin Brom from Yonder Cider, they really started helping elevate this conversation about equity and inclusion, and how we could start just talking about the implications for the cider industry. So we had a committee of really cool folks that had a lot of experience working in this realm in their personal, professional careers, education, law, and we've been having conversations, but obviously the protests, the Black Lives Matter protests and the George Floyd incident allowed us to kind of elevate the conversation. Mm-hmm. And right now we're really aimed at kind of looking at what we as an association can do just internally. And it feels quick maybe from the outside, but it's conversations that we've been having for, years. And honestly, I have to give a shout out to Dr. J, because without her, this would have been a million times more difficult. Being a part of her Patreon account and having her speak at CiderCon have all been really important catalysts for this work. And our board just did a training with Dr. J yesterday that was really valuable. So, we want to just make our association more inclusive with the bottom goal of cider for everyone.
Yeah. Well, then Crafted for Everyone is certainly a good partner to have. And
yeah.
I'm glad we were able to talk about that, because, these are two almost parallel industries where there is crossover, but you've got your core cider people and you've got your core beer people, but more and more those lines between really even liquid loyalty are being, and so yeah, I mean, Dr. J, her work has really transcended beer and talk about the alcohol beverage industry as a whole. So I just love to hear that. I was able to see her and at CiderCon, as well as other BBF and the California Craft Beer Association. Beer Summit and stuff like that. So I would love to keep talking to you about this. It's so good to see you, but real quick, where can people keep up with everything that's going on at the American Cider Association and beyond?
Yeah. Well, follow us on Instagram. We're pretty active on there, but also check out ciderassociation.org. On there, you can find a link to our anti-racism monthly newsletter series if you want to sign up for that, or if you want to learn more about CiderCon. Dr. J is one of our main stage speakers. Really looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Yep. And that just got announced for early in 2021, all virtual. So anybody who's interested in participating virtually, be sure to go to that website and check out more. But it was great to check in with you.
Yeah, it was good to see you.
Cheers. Yeah, cheers. We'll be talking soon, but thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Bye there.
Bye. All right, that was Michelle McGrath, Executive Director of the American Cider Association, which is basically the BA equivalent for the cider industry. And so, mentioning some familiar names like Dr. J and that anti-racism work. So certainly much more overlap between our two beloved industries, I'm sure, is to come. But we're going to bring it right back on to San Diego and talk to California Wild Ales about what they are going to do for the rest of Beer Week. Yeah.
Hey.
How's it going? Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
What are you drinking today?
Am I allowed to even say if it's not an SD beer?
That's okay. I have definitely broken my rule. I mean, and honestly, that's what is that, LA?
Orange County. I think they're above LA, so they're not like Anaheim, but yeah. It's a crystal wheat lager.
Right.
Yeah.
Close enough. I've enjoyed their blogger many a time.
Yeah. So yeah, I like the Anagrin guys. They make good stuff.
I'm really glad that you just said that out loud because I've never been confident enough to pronounce it or try to pronounce it.
I hope I pronounced it correctly. I'm not actually sure that's how it's
No idea. I will not be able to in any way, shape, or form.
That's funny.
But I mean, so let's talk.
Anyway. Yeah.
I have no room to talk. Two of our guests today, one is not from San Diego and one is not in beer. So I'm like,
that's fair.
Happy San Diego Beer Week. But let's talk about Beer Week because you guys still have some stuff planned that people can participate in. Yeah,
we released 9 new beers. There were 14 beers on the schedule. Some of them have kind of already been released, but we put together some Beer Week packs for like the peach pack and the blueberry. But yeah, we're still, making beer and cranking along, and all our stuff is packaged. So we figured we would just schedule it like normal and see what happened. And it's been a lot of, pre-orders online, and, we've had, our last weekend was good. But nothing crazy. It hasn't been, people aren't flocking just because it's Beer Week, which is okay considering the scenario. So yeah, right. So, but yeah, and even when we go backwards here, we did get our patio license. There's a patio just outside our front door that way. So we got that licensed for COVID. So we'll at least be able to stay open through this whole thing, and then I guess we've got a couple more days till we, officially have to shut it down for another 3 weeks. So, so we'll finish out strong, and we'll, we still have the patio and everything. And then, so the releases, as it goes, I lined up some of the bottles. Can you see any of them?
Oh, yeah, I can see those. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's our 2020 is a sour year. We're going to make 3 of those. We just thought it was appropriate.
That's fair.
And then when the pineapple upside down cake is probably the one we're most well known for. The dark gold and the cuvee are blends. The dark gold is literally just that, a dark and a golden. And then the cuvee is a blend of, there's a little saison, and even I did a spontaneous barrel 2 years ago, and there's a little bit of that in this one as well. 2 blueberry beers, another peach on peach, which is where we rest a finished peach beer on more peaches, and then this one we blended with our grilled pineapple, and then all the prickly pear here is from OB. And so that one's been a lot of fun. We actually have had that on.
Yeah,
what's up?
Like patchouli and tie-dye.
Yeah, sure. The prickly pear unfortunately takes over that, But anyway, we also, for those that are in OB, we have that on tap at Bar 1502 which is Noodle House 2, and then I think Olive Tree has some bottles as well for anybody from OB that might be watching that wants to go grab some. So, but yeah, that's we haven't really stopped. Whenever we get a chance to do an event and put a bunch of stuff like this together, we're going for it. And with the success of the last ones, we're not going to stop till it fails. So,
that's the right.
So yeah.
Disclosure, the last time that we talked on here, we had talked about the pineapple upside down cake, and I was going to see my grandparents for the first time in like 6 months or whatever, and
right.
You make a pineapple upside down cake, and my grandma totally made one for me because I asked her to, and she's not a beer drinker, doesn't drink at all,
right? Okay.
And
right.
So, can you just do that for me? So thank you so much for making it like a jump to mind that I was like, oh yeah, I can have grandma's pineapple upside down cake. This is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we when we did the release last year, my old roommate at the time, I'll give her a shout out. Thanks, Jess. She made us a whole bunch of pineapple upside down cakes just for fun, like little bite-sized ones to give out to everybody that came in, which was super awesome of her. So we actually had some homemade ones lying around the place. It was a lot of fun. So.
I am known for my very old person dessert preferences. Like I love me a fruit tart and a lemon bar and a pineapple upside down. Yeah. Oh, chocolate cake, not interested. Like, no thanks. But palate is roughly about 87 years old, which is fine. But my beer palate is, I got to keep it West Coast. This keeps me young. The West Coast IPA.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what?
Yeah, there you go.
So, as far as wrapping up Beer Week, how can people support you and get their hands on some of these special releases?
Well, you can order all of it's online at CaliforniaWildAles.com under the beer page, and then I think it even has an SDBW drop-down tag, which will take you to everything that we released, including, I think, if there are any packs left. I think the peach pack is sold out, but there's still blueberry packs. So you can go there. You can come in until Friday at midnight. We're still able to do 25% in-house, and we do have the patio, so we're going to be doing that, and then all weekend we'll be open. There's about 6 full tables out there. You know what I mean? I will say we don't have space heaters. We may not get them as they are in high demand, but it is San Diego, so hopefully everybody can just wear a little heavier jacket. Obviously, if we could use reusable things, we'd gladly supply blankets, but no one's doing that right now either. So, yeah.
Bring BYO blankets.
Yeah.
Be able to buy your own beer. So
yes.
Yeah, that definitely works. And yeah, like I was telling Michelle earlier, I'm just like, we are truly a city of babies when it comes to weather. Like this, it's like, 66. No,
yeah.
I die.
Yeah, I've been listening, I'll listen to NPR in the car, and I'm, listening to these people from New York and Boston talking about trying to weather, and they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to bundle up. And they're dealing with negative degree weather, and we're sitting here with 50-degree weather, begging for space heaters. And so, yeah, it's all perspective.
Self-proclaimed weather baby. I moved here to not have weather, but I'll live. But I love that you still have a blueberry beer, because I remember one of the very first, I guess, weird beers that I had was I went to the Lobster Festival in Portland, Maine.
Okay.
I was maybe 21.
Mm-hmm.
There, I can see the picture of the label. It's like a dog wearing a fisherman's poncho and doing blueberry stuff. And I'm just like, I feel like blueberry beers very underrated. Very.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we actually get all of our blueberries from the Carlsbad flower fields,
which I love. I mean,
yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, so that was a super cool connection. A couple years ago, we didn't even know they existed until their main guy, Jess, came down and offered us blueberries. I think there's some other guys around that have them as well. I think Setting Sun even does some. I think you had them on already or whatever. So there you go. So, but yeah, that's one of our favorites. So last year it came out super tannic, kind of like red wine. This year is actually much more fresh blueberries, a little jammy, but more just like fresh blueberries in a glass. It's really, really good. It's a fun difference between the 2 years as well. So we had both of them on for a little bit at the start of Beer Week, but the old blueberry keg kicked. So yeah,
we'll all just have to live with the
yeah.
jammy fresh blueberry taste
Yep.
that I think sounds personally very appealing. So
thank you. Yeah.
So people will check out, if you go to either California Wild Ale's website or scbeer.com and check on the Beer Week events left, people will be able to figure out what is still going on. Well, that sounds awesome. I'm so happy that we were able to connect today, and good luck. Let's check in again after this whole purple tier and whatever, but fingers crossed for you guys. I'm sure we'll be okay, I guess.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, we should. We think we're going to be okay, through this whole thing. We weathered longer months than this, so hopefully we can get through the next 3 weeks, and then we'll be back up to red, and then hopefully we'll keep going in that direction. We'll see. Fingers crossed. So.
Cross. Well, I will see you on the other side.
All right.
Whatever color we're in, with some blueberry beer.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Cheers. All right, that was California Wild Ales, and I did see a comment to post this interview. We always post this on YouTube in full, every single one of these that we've done since March or April, whenever we started. So be sure to check out, look for San Diego Brewers Guild. It's a channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to find this and every other live stream show that we've done for the last like 30 weeks or something. So anywho, but we are going to keep it going. Setting sun. I love that Zach set me up perfectly to talk to Josh. Also on sdbeer.com. Thank you, Paige. These are definitely able to watch. Hello!
I had to re-enable my...
I can't...
Are you able to hear me?
Hold on. There, now I can hear you. There we go.
I think I have to hold the phone for this. I'm not good at this stuff. How are you doing?
I think so. I won't even show you my just like janky setup. There's like a tape dispenser that's holding up my phone. It's very pro. I'm a pro.
You're solving problems. I love it.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just looking at the screen, looking at me. But let's do a quick intro of who you are and where you are.
I'm currently in the tasting Setting Sun Sake Brewing Company. I'm Josh Hembry, the owner, founding member, head of brewing operations, chief janitor, assistant to the janitor. I do all the janitorial roles.
Yep.
But
so it's basically a one-man show, but sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, for those that don't know about Setting Sun Sake, we produce California grown rice, locally brewed sake for bars, restaurants, and sake fanatics alike.
Sweet. Well, and you are in the heart of San Diego beer territory, so there's a lot of overlap, a lot of collaboration with the beer scene.
A lot of people call it Beer Mar. Yeah, we've done a lot of beer collabs, and we've been at what was the Karl Strauss beer event the last couple of years, doing sake beer hybrids. So we do a lot of beer. Collabapalooza, that's it. And I'd like to think that I take a beer-centric approach to sake, so it's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Well, we like to say that there's a beer for everyone. Do you think that there's a sake for everyone?
For sure, there's a sake for every day and a sake for everyone. Most people just know sake as being hot or dropped into a industrial lager and chugged, and that's just not the best way to consume it or to appreciate it. So
sure.
I think there's a lot of ways that people can enjoy sake. One of the ways that people can enjoy sake, Zach brought up expertly in his interview portion with you. Shout out to Zach, California Wild Ales. I've got let me rotate the label. This is our brewberry or our blueberry sake that we released. So these are the California, Carlsbad blueberry, California rice, lambic aesthetic to the brewing method. So it's got a lot of origin in beer.
Well, so sake has a particular kind of base flavor profile that some beer drinkers or people who just haven't had sake before might not be familiar with. What are some beers that you think might act as a gateway for getting into sake if they're unfamiliar with it?
Not to be too shy about it, but that was such a great question. Thank you. I truly think that Belgian beers are a great introduction to sake. Sake Yeast number 7 is an iconoclast sake strain, and it's like the pale ale yeast of sake, and it maps almost perfectly with high ethyl acid production to Belgian beers. I feel Saison DuPont or Delirium Tremens is definitely the experience I have most.
So, I mean, do you think that that's partially just a flavor profile, a yeast profile thing, or I mean, those are typically very dry beers, like a sake. Like if you have a penchant for drier style, is that an easier gateway to get into sake as well?
So for sake, I really like the Kikasui Yamahai. I'm sorry, Kikasui Nama. I really like it because it has all the big fresh flavors of sake, but they're wildly different. I think that a lot of Americans don't get fresh sake. They don't get even like commercially good sake. They get the Bud Light of sake. And so they don't even know what going from Coors Banquet, which is fine, but it's not craft beer, right? So there's craft sake out there that they've just never experienced because they've only had the industrially available stuff, or it's not been fresh.
Right.
Sake should be consumed within the first 9 months of its life. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that's a really big parallel to things like very classic English styles, German styles, where it's like you might not be able to get this in the States because it's literally only made in this one little place in Europe. And by the time you get it, a year later or whatever, you have to deal with the oxidization and it's just like kind of the flattening of those flavors. And so unless you go to the source, and in sake's case, that would be Japan, you might not have a familiarity with like brightness and how the flavors could possibly be. And I mean, like you said, though, this is more of a California, like New World style. So it's not necessarily, would you say that you're like jumping off of the traditional like sake experience and kind of morphing it into more of the experimental craft beer ideology? Or do you have any of those really traditionally leaning styles?
Yeah, so you brought it up something perfectly with the unique European styles of beer that people would never really truly get the full experience. It does take time to get it over on a boat. It does take time to get to their cooler and then for them to buy it. I had those feelings when I was working for Polaner Hocker Shore and in Germany and was at Fuller's in London. I really never even liked ESBs. I don't know how I got the job. But then when I went to London, I was like, oh, dear God, there's a whole different level of beer that I've just never appreciated. And it opened my mind to what's being done here in San Diego to represent that. And there are some amazingly artistry-driven brewers that are nailing classic styles. But to really get that level of understanding, you got to go to the source. And I find that infinitely hilarious because I've never been to Japan. But I do understand brewing, and I brewing traditions. So I wanted to
awesome. Well, that's awesome. Where can people find you and like pick up sake? There's the tasting room. What sort of offsite accounts can people do if they're trying to get a taste of your sake?
Yeah, Bashak Ramen has got some of our sake. Give a shout out to some Soup Weather, huh? So you can go to Bashak Ramen and get it. You can go to Tap Room, the SD Tap Room in PB and Tap Room in North Park. Both of them carry us. I'm trying to give shout outs to the local accounts. Come to the tasting room. Check out our website. Our website has so much information about where to find us out there and here. It has information for our clubs, our bottle releases, and more of my madness and ideology.
So, and be sure to, I'm assuming social media is going to be a big way for people to keep up with you as well.
Yeah, I am no longer doing social media. It's been good for me. I had to download Instagram just to do this, but anything to talk to you, Beth. Follow our Instagram.
I love that. And you are a stronger man than me, because I have walked away from Twitter countless times and it always sucks me back. So one day I'll break up with it for real, but today's not that day. Oh well.
Follow Setting Sun Sake at Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and check out our website, and drink local sake, or just drink sake.
Hey man, baby steps. We'll all get there. But thank you so much for checking in with us. It was great to see you, and I will hopefully see you in real life, if not on social media. So, all right, cheers. All right, that was Josh from Setting Sun, who is certainly a character and well known and well loved, or at least well known in San Diego beer. So he's a real trip. I love that guy. But we're gonna keep it going with Thorn beer, and I see that Karl Strauss is on here. Thank you so much. I promise I will get to you right after Thorn. We are just gonna keep things going to talk about Beer Week, and then we'll talk to Karl about Friendsgiving. So we still got two great people. What's up, my man?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I'm almost done with my almost 8% beer, so I'm feeling, I feel like I'm getting into the groove now.
Yeah, getting messed up on Instagram.
Woo! You know how it is? Well,
I do. I did the fling today. I had a few beers.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. So
I do.
But it's Wednesday. The sun is going down. 'Tis the season for drinking all day, right?
Yeah, I feel that.
Well, real quick, we've had you on before, but why don't we just do the preliminaries of you introducing yourself and who you're with?
Tom Kiley, I'm the GM of Thorn Brewing Company, and we're a production brewery in Barrio Logan, but original brew pub in North Park, and we got a taster in Mission Hills as well.
Yeah, to this day, I'm still like Thorn Street. And I'm like, I can't call it that anymore. It's just Thorn.
I don't mind. I tell you what, you come to any of the Thorns over Setting Sun, and we're cool.
All right, well, you guys are going to have to fight for it, but
yeah.
There's plenty of me drinking to go around, so we'll work on it. But
good, we'll take whatever we can get to you.
Fair enough. Well, Barrio, shit is happening in Barrio right now.
Yeah, Barrio's awesome. I am the whitest guy on the planet, and then I started working in Barrio, and I live in Chula Vista, and from Boston, like, we just don't have a Chicano or a Mexican population, so it's a whole new world to me, but it's awesome. There's so much like cool stuff going on, and then we got we're on National Ave. We're like, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 blocks west of Coronado Bridge, and then one of the owners of Thorn is opening up a distillery and pizza kitchen tomorrow. Doing soft opening tomorrow. You're coming, right? I'm
coming on Saturday. Please, if you're watching who wants to murder me, I'm coming on Friday. But I'll be there on Saturday. Yeah. So I'm super looking forward to it. Talk to me a little bit about the concept that, because it's right. It's like adjacent to your location. Is that right?
So it's actually one big building.
Yeah.
So one of the owners of Thorn and some of the investors own the building. So we have Thorn on one side. We're on the east side of the building. Mm-hmm. And then on the west side of the building, they're starting a pizza kitchen, cocktail bar in the front. It's a distillery in the back. And then it's kind of like an outdoor/event space in the side yard. So they're opening up just the side yard starting tomorrow for friends and family, Thursday through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And what's really cool, and they're making their own spirits. It's all upcycled beer. So perfect time during COVID, any beer that we had go bad, we sent over there, and we're going to get to do like our own. So we're going to have like some Thorn booze. And we actually had a batch of beer like 2 years ago. We had Bad Yeast. It was a Belgian blonde, and the whiskey. We still have little bits of whiskey that squeeze out every now and then. It's delicious. And so it's just
on that.
You what?
I said, you're really selling me on that. Like, oh, whiskey's getting squeezed out.
Yeah, well, you were just talking about how much you like to get drunk. So I'm like, oh, this is right up Beth's alley.
Well, I got to admit, during COVID, I've gone from a once a year cannabis user to a once a day cannabis user.
Yeah.
So my drinking has remained about the same, but one of my bell curves has gone way, way up. So sorry, Mom.
Yeah, do you think?
Hey, man, whatever.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool because, right now, like when people think of Barrio, as far as like going out, it's like probably 6 or 7 blocks east and a block up, Border X in Salud. And that's like really where a lot of like, you know, the fun nightlife stuff pre-COVID was going down.
Yeah.
We're kind of on an island for nighttime. We got Mishmash around the corner, Virtuoso Coffee Shop. There's a pretty good birria spot in Quattras Milpas. But that's more like lunch and breakfast time.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to have another, you know, space next to us. So I think Dennis is calling it the Acre of Awesome, which is adorable.
That's like a very modern times moniker.
I feel like that would be like the Awesome Torium or something like that.
Yeah.
The United States of Awesome. But no, I guess it's pretty close.
It's close.
I'll take that.
So when, like, first of all, I love that you guys decided to just like, oh, let's just like launch a new business that is also a part event space, like during COVID, like whatever. That's totally a normal time. But like, how long has this been in the works?
See, exactly. Like, it looks like, oh, what idiot would have an event space now in COVID? It's like, well, 2-3 years ago, we weren't in COVID. And then I don't know if you've tried to open a business in San Diego. I mean, God bless the people of the city. You know, they're just trying to do their job like everybody else, but they don't make it easy. So it takes a long, long, long time. So that's been, I mean, they've been chipping away at that for over 2 years. Yeah. And they probably would have accelerated it and been open in the spring or summer, but it was like, what's the point?
Right. Might as well do a thing. But I mean, I feel like that the taking of old beer and turning it into spirits is not new, but I feel like it's a really interesting, underused way to get rid of some of the stuff that is go to waste otherwise. And like beer thinks of all of these ways to be like progressive and forward thinking, and I feel like sustainability is not necessarily on like the forefront of what craft beer is like pushing forward in terms of innovation. So I think that's a really an interesting and underutilized kind of side business to kind of complement, because everybody wins. Like, I'm trying to drink some spirits, like
yeah. So it's actually, we've done collaborations with San Diego Distilling out east before. They're awesome. Yeah. And then, but separate of this, Dennis had just the idea to upcycle the beer into booze.
Yeah.
And he actually was going to buy a farm up north so that we could like use the spent grain from the brewery up at the farm, and then any old beer we go and distill with them and like kind of like close the loop.
Yeah.
We're solar powered in Barrio, so it is almost like it could be its own little ecosystem. There's a couple little gardens. I don't know if it'll make enough veggies for all their pizzas and stuff, but like, yeah, it's like, why not? And I don't know if people know, but when you run a brewery, you can't just, and beer's bad, you can't just dump it down the drain.
Right.
Some people do it, but you're not supposed to. So especially these distributors that like I don't even know if they have drains in the floor, because they're not manufacturing, right? They have to pay to get rid of all that beer, and they pretty much pay someone to destroy it. So this is like, hey, instead of paying someone to destroy it, we'll just convert it into booze and then sell it.
Well, what's your capacity that, you know, like, is it just Thorn stuff now, or are you taking stuff from other places, or?
No, peak COVID, they were taking like trailer loads of beers from distributors.
Wow.
Just like trucks and trucks. I mean, they have like 30-barrel holding tanks of just like stripped liquid, and they're just now getting bottles and stuff. And your girl is doing all the labels, Christine, right?
Know it?
Yeah, and so all that just came in. They're about to start bottling. But yeah, so we'll be doing a bunch of Thorn stuff, but it's not Thorn exclusive. So they'll be doing other stuff as well.
Well, I feel like we've talked a lot about the spirits, and that's super cool. But I mean, I feel like you guys, Thorn itself has some Beer Week stuff that's still yet to come.
Wow, thanks for that softball, Beth. Of course we do. Yeah, you nailed that transition. We're doing, all right, yes. So tomorrow we're doing, it's called Dozen Beers, and we're doing a dozen beer tasting. So it's 12 of our beers in cans. And then we're going on Facebook Live, and we're just going to like the history of the beers, the history of Thorn. We have unearthed a bunch of old videos. Like we used to make a ton of videos, and it's just going to be like kind of like a night with Thorn on the Thorn Facebook.
Forgot about the Thorn video.
Yeah, I know. And that'll be fun. And then on Friday, we're doing a night at the Regal Beagle. It's like breakfast for dinner. And we did a single barrel selection with them. We had like 25 to 30 barrels that we were emptying. So they tasted a few and they picked one. It ended up being our Countess Spacula. That was a Karl Strauss collab, Imperial Breakfast Stout.
Nice.
And single barrel of that, we're going to release that. And then we're doing internally, we're doing a sour night in Barrio. And we're releasing of those barrels, 2 barrel-aged sours. One is a pickleback. It's called Dickel Pickleback Ralph. And it's a pickle sour aged in Dickel Rye whiskey barrels.
Sweet.
And then we have a cherry sour that is blended with blackberries. And then on Sunday, we're releasing a Russian Imperial Stout, that Mexican chocolate. And it's going to be a dark beer night on that night. I know. And we're canning them. It's our first barrel-aged canned beer, so Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
Hector, what's up? It's on you, buddy.
Somebody better take the wheel because it's not going to be. Love it. Thank you so much for checking in with us. Am I going to see you on Saturday?
Maybe.
I
got all these events to do. I'm going to try to pop in. You let me know what time you're going, and maybe I'll be there at the same time.
I'll be there 6 o'clock.
All right. I'll try to pop. I'll swing by. I'll say hi.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. It was good to see you.
All right. You take care.
All right. You too.
Later.
All right. That was Boston Tom from Thorn Brewing. Saturday, not Sunday for the barrel night. Okay. Well, he misspoke. I got nothing. But yeah, it sounds like Thorn's got a lot of good stuff cooking for the end of beer week. But Carl, it says unable to join. If you are on a computer, then I am not able to add you. So be sure to log off and then, oh, wait, maybe I can add you. I don't know, whatever. Bonus guest. I love it. Joe, Oof. I only had a tiny bit left, so I had to just, get rid of it. What are you drinking, though?
Coors Light.
Tight.
We've got Aurora Hoppy Alice.
I mean, obviously, that makes the most sense and is probably a better option.
It's the easiest beer to keep stocked in my fridge, so.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, we jumped into it. I was just, shoving beer in my face. Quick intro of who you are and where you are.
Cool. So I am Brian Scaron. I am working marketing over at Karl Strauss. I am at home, spending a lot of time in this seat in this living room, as most of us are. But yeah, so I work on the marketing side of things. Probably the stuff that I work on that everyone's familiar with would be our event series. So we, Setting Sun just mentioned Collabapalooza. So I'm kind of one of the leads on the Collabapalooza stuff. As far as our Arts and Amps series and other things like that, I kind of work with all of our, various teams to just sort of work out the details and put those events on.
Well, events. What's up with Friendsgiving?
Yeah, so super exciting. Obviously this year is, even more so with the news we got yesterday than any other year. Things are a little rough on the event side of things. Like I just mentioned, Collabapalooza for us is, our big, fall beer week time of year event that we like to put on. And of course, we're not going to be able to do it this year. But, what's really exciting is, we've been able to partner up with San Diego Brewers Guild and with Miho Catering. They've been doing these Hops and Harvest take-home dinners over the last few months with various breweries. I just, obviously they just did one last weekend with partnering with the Casbah. Yep. And so when we worked with them on what we wanted to do, the idea of doing a Friendsgiving came up, and now more than ever, it seems like an appropriate time to be celebrating with a small group of people in your home. And why cook all that food for yourself? So Miho came up with a really awesome Thanksgiving themed menu. And we've paired that with 4 of our beers. There's 4 courses, 4 beers, 1 beer for each course. And they put together a really cool menu that really features a lot of sort of Thanksgiving classics, things like, of course, turkey, Brussels sprouts, like candied yams, butternut squash, brioche stuffing. But in, true Miho fashion, they've been able to really elevate everything to be better than, anything you'd likely make. Probably not better than your grandma's, but, better than yours.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's after Thanksgiving. Like there's Thanksgiving is Thursday, and then this is Saturday.
So, technically, I mean, I could be wrong on my Thanksgiving dates, but so the way it's working, so the food will be ready for pickup or delivery on Saturday, November 21st. So this is actually the Saturday before, before everyone would traditionally go home. But the idea being, the weekend before, when you get together with friends, when you, see the people who aren't your family for Thanksgiving. So it's taking place on Saturday, November 21st. But in order to secure your tickets and get everything ordered, you'll need to place your order by noon on Monday, the 16th. So that's this upcoming Monday. So you've got the rest of this weekend.
Okay, and where can people get tickets?
So tickets are available. We have a link to it on our website. If you go to our homepage, it's in our slider. And additionally, if you go to the San Diego Brewers Guild website under sdbeer.com, they'll have links on their events. If you search for the events for Beer Week, it'll be, or not on Beer Week, I'm sorry, for their just upcoming events, it'll be listed on there. They've got it on their Facebook page. There's just a number of different ways to go find it. If you want to look for it and find it, you'll be able to pretty easily. So
this is a perfect option for people who either specifically want to get drunk with their family or specifically don't want to get drunk with their family.
That I would recommend the latter. Or you could be two people and get enough food and have enough for one night and then celebrate the next night too. So there's enough for 4 people. And like I said, there is a delivery option as well. So I know that they're delivering within San Diego County. I'm pretty sure within the radius is listed on there specifically, but it's a fairly large radius. So you can either pick it up from our Sereno Mesa location, or you can pay $10 extra on your ticket, which all fees and everything are all included with the ticket. So it's just a flat fee, either $200 or $210 for delivery, and they will pack it all up, take the beers, and bring them right to you. So obviously the beers are a big part of it for us. So that's super exciting. We have our Aurora Hoppy Alice is one of the beers, followed by Pilsner, Mosaic IPA, and then our brand new holiday beer. This one goes to 11, is an Imperial Red Ale with Cabernet grapes. And that actually doesn't even release until Monday. So that's about to come out, but that's included as one of the 4 beers as well. So it's
love the Spinal Tap reference. Superb. Well, actually, wait, I was going to ask you what the beers were, and I was like, wait, you literally just told me. So thank you so much for being on that one.
Make it easy.
Make it easy. I love it. And again, so $200 is the flat, fee for the ticket unless you add for delivery, but that's for people. 4 courses, 4 beers, but that's a lot. So
all inclusive. Yeah, it's everything. So they really, and like I said, you can see the full menus listed on the ticket page with all of the different ingredients. There's a ton of stuff in there, and honestly, it's the proceeds and a lot of the fundraising is really going to support the Brewers Guild, which, and like I said, when we would normally do Collabapalooza, that was a big fundraiser for us. And, we always like to make a donation to support the Guild. And, we work together with Paige at the Guild very often on a lot of things. And, needless to say, this year, like everyone knows, is really tough for that. So this is a real good opportunity for you to enjoy a super cool meal and have some great beers, but also know that, at the end of the day, this is really going to support the Brewers Guild and, kind of the local beer industry.
Well, and we love to hear that and appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for checking in with us. Happy Friendsgiving, and we will chat soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. All right. Well, this week we had a bonus guest, which I just love. Friendsgiving, give me a break. But remember, we do this every single week. We are going to be doing it next week, taking the week of Thanksgiving off and then joining back up once we hit December, which is even just bananas to think about. But if you are interested in being a future guest, please do message us right here at SD Brewers, or feel free to reach out to me. My name is Beth Demon. You can find me at The Delighted Bite on Instagram, or just at Delighted Bite on Twitter. And until next week at 4 p.m., just thanks so much. Remember, Black Lives Matter, drink local independent craft beer, and be cool to one another. Happy Beer Week. Enjoy the rest of your beer week, and we will catch you.